Have you ever paid for sex?
That's what a cute question. I mean, direct deposit. I mean, hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. Yes, I have. Yes.
How many times have you paid for a girl in one day? Like, have you had like a...
Probably, I would say twice in a day. I was never like a whole bunch of times in a day. You know what I mean? It was just, I would say multiple days, but I have many times, sure.
Was that because, are you into that just because you weren't looking to date? You just wanted...
No, it was never that. It was like, a lot of times it felt like, hey, you want to do this and you want this and I want to do this and I'm willing to give you that. Like, it was very... Sex become transactional, and I think a lot of that was from when I was a kid, like the way I was sexual when I was a kid with other kids, and it became transactional. Like, you do this to me 5 times, I'll do this to you 5 times. And it just kind of became the way sex was. So I never had any taboo with that. And then there's times where like you have low self-esteem and you're like, well, I think this is all I have to offer. So here, I'll give you this because you're not going to like me if I don't. And then there's other times where it's just like, no, this is what you do and you'll come over for this. And it's a fair trade. We both want to do it. So I haven't in about 5 years, but I've many times have done it. Yeah.
Is there like a menu of girls and you just like pick one?
Usually it was people I knew for a while. Like I would see the same people over and over because then you know them and you kind of know their story and you're comfortable with each other. But no, never a menu. Like I never went to did I ever go to a brothel? I don't think so. I never went to a brothel. I don't know why. I just never.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was legal in Vegas, but I never did it when I was there.
But I think there's online escort agencies where you can like go on and...
Oh yeah, there are. And I've used some of them, but not a lot. I would always want it to be somebody I talked to a little bit first.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I had one time, I was very naive, and many, many years ago in Los Angeles, I had 2 women show up together, and I'm like, this will be great. But I didn't realize that the money was just for them to show up. And so you had to pay more for sex. So it was just so awful. I was just kind of laying there while they rubbed baby oil on my legs and then they left. And I'm like, oh, all right, I should know somebody a little better before I do
Yeah,
this.
you got a nice leg massage.
Yeah. It was very unsatisfactory.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, have you ever considered dating one of these girls?
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dominatrix I've dated. Yeah, there's no stigma attached to that for me. It's like whatever you did in this life. It's hard to date somebody if you're doing it now just because, again, there's jealousy. But yeah, I've dated quite a few people who have done sex work and it doesn't bother me at all.
Because it seems like sex is such an important part of a relationship. So even if you're not looking to date someone in the beginning, but then you guys really connect in a sexual way.
Right.
Why not? I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking that? But like maybe get to know that girl and maybe she has something deeper to her.
Of course she does. Like what I'm in no position to judge somebody because they've done sex work. It's like I've been involved, paid for sex work. So who the fuck am I to say you're bad for doing it when I'm not bad for having it? You know what I mean? Like there's no stigma to me. As long as it's somebody doing something they want to do, I have no stigma attached to it. And somebody's past doesn't matter to me. I don't care what they did yesterday or last week. It's just got no bearing on how I view them now.
What was it like dating a dominatrix?
It was sexy. We met by sessioning first, and I really liked her. Like I liked her a lot. Like we knew each other for like a year. We would session together, and I realized like fuck, I think I'm falling in love with this person, and we became friends through that process. Like after a session, she would stay and we would talk for an hour, 2 hours sometimes, and then we just went out to lunch a couple of times and just became better friends. And then one time I'm like, look, I would love to take you to eat, but I'm like, I just want to take you to eat. And she's like, I know what you're asking me. Yes, we'll go out like on a date. And we did, and we just kind of started seeing each other after that.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But we knew each other very well, and there's no shyness because you've seen each other in these unusual moments that most people never see each other in. So you're almost immediately comfortable.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a backwards way to date someone because usually when you go on a date, you have dinner and you talk and you get to know someone and then you get into the sex.
Yes.
But in this way, you get to the sex right off the bat and then you have this connection. You're like, I actually want to get to know you deeper. Oh. So it's kind of, right? It's a little bit of a flip-flop way to think about dating.
Yes, and then we go to dinner and we realize like, Because again, you always, especially if you're friends while you're in this situation, which again, some people don't, but like I always like someone to stick around and chat for a while after. So we would just sit there, and she was the only person I would let smoke in my house. She was so hot. I was so happy she was there. I'm like, she would fucking sit in my kitchen and smoke. And I'm like, oh, go ahead, an ashtray, whatever you want. Flick them in the fridge. I don't give a shit. But I wanted her to stay and have a conversation. So I knew that we would eat well together and get along well together just because we were able to talk after that. Like there was never any awkwardness. So, you know, I knew that would be a great relationship, and it was.
How long did that relationship last?
2.5 years.
That's a really good amount of time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long time, especially since I'm not good at relationships. And I would get jealous. She stopped doing that. Like she did that for a little while when we first dated, but then she stopped because she was just done doing it. She was like, yeah, I'm not enjoying it anymore.
What is it like to go from paying to not paying?
It becomes, there's more pressure because you feel like, oh, now this person is looking at me like a real like, you know what I mean? Like with her, it wasn't bad because we knew each other so well.
Right.
But other times you're like, am I going to live up to what this person wants from a real partner? Like, again, because my self-esteem is very low. So I never used money as like, hey, you'll do this. It was always like, thank you for coming. And like, if you're here because you want to be here now, like, fuck, am I going to be good enough to keep you wanting to come back and see me?
Wow.
Yeah.
How far into dating the dominatrix girl did you stop paying?
Oh, immediately. Like once it became dating, there was never an exchange again. It just became a relation. Like the first time she slept over my house, that was the end of any type of transactional stuff. It was just us connected in a relationship. We didn't date while I was paying her. Once it became like a thing where we were dating, that was the end of it.
First date, baby.
Are you really drinking a glass of milk with dinner?
First date, I can't wait.
You told your mom about me?
Just say you're ready.
Delete my number.